Well, I'd like to take you on a little trip with a deck of cards. Show you what I mean. I'd like to show you a mystery that goes just a bit further, or farther as the case might be, than most card tricks. The gentleman here to my left, if you would, just call out any number between, say 10 and 20.
16.
16, an excellent number. I'll count down. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now, most magicians would just give you that 16th card, let you look at it, but this mystery goes further than that. We'll take that number 16, which is a 1 and a 6, add those two digits together, we get 7, and we'll continue on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you would just take a peek at the next card. Please remember that card. Excellent. Now, just by listening to the cards, I can tell what the selected card is. Let me listen here. Yeah, you hear that sound? I can tell already you chose a cherry-colored card, didn't you? That
No.
black cherry? Excellent, excellent. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sorry. In fact, I get the impression that it's a high-value card, a spade, the ace of spades. It was the ace of spades? Marvelous. You know, most card tricks would stop there, but this trick goes further than that. Let's see, ace of spades. There's A-C-E of spades, S-P-A-D-E-S. That's right, the ace of spades. You know, it's interesting. Most card tricks would stop there, but this trick goes further than that. I spelled out A-C-E, and here we have the aces. I said of spades, and here we have some spade cards. Look at that, a flush and spades. If you're a poker player, that's a very good hand. But you know, most card tricks would even stop there. But this trick goes one step further. All I do is wiggle the cards, which isn't magic, but I do it so well. And you see now I have a king, queen, jack, 10. Truly a royal flush in spades. And you must say, you cannot go any further than that. For our mystery that goes further than that, we use the following cards. The balance of the pack is here. I take a royal flush in spade cards. There's our ace that completes the royal flush. Of course, the 4 aces. And any 5 spade cards. It's best if they're not necessarily in numerical sequence. The first thing you're going to do is make sure you mark the ace of spades. As you look into our card force section of these DVDs, there is a section where I mention dotting a card. In this case, I use a little fine point marker pen, and I put a couple of little dots. You will want to actually maybe use the head of a pin, the end of a pin, and just put a little mark in the card. It needs to be something you can see, but your audience necessarily won't. We'll continue on. The setup now is as follows. On the top of the deck, you're first going to place the 10, jack, king, and queen. The aces now, with the ace of spades at this position, go next on top of the deck. That's 4. Now you have 5 more cards. Now here's an important aspect. We're going to do a variation of the 10 to 20 force on this. In this case, the card that we're going to force is, of course, the 9th card down from the top. This is important. It's not the 10th card down, as in the 10 to 20 force. But since the card has the little dots in the back marking it, there's no problem. You'll see what I mean. I begin by giving the cards just a basic false cut on the table, as if I am unconcerned of the order of the cards. And since your pack of cards that are stacked, so to speak, is only this thick, there isn't much to worry about at the back of the pack as far as mixing them up accidentally. I give the cards a Hindu shuffle from the face. I now address the audience and tell them that I have a mystery that goes further than most card tricks. Let's see, I would then ask somebody to choose a number between, say 10 and 20. Now in this case, the numbers do actually need to be between 10 and 20. So you're going to now do the force. And you would ask somebody, name a number, let's say they say 12. That makes it simple. I now count from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I would continue on by patterning the fact that most times a magician would take this card, let you look at it, but this mystery goes a step further. I now place the balance of the pack to my left where I can keep track of it. Scooping up this packet, I acknowledge the fact that the number 12, which they just freely chose, is made up of a 1 and a 2. Add those together, of course, we get 3. So I continue on, 1, 2, 3. Now the force card is right here. So after I have dealt 1, 2, 3, I just continue, take that card off the pack, and say, would you please take a peek at that card? Of course, as I turn my head away from the audience as if not wanting to see. Of course, remember, that's going to be our force card, the ace of spades. The audience sees that. Notice how I continue in this procedure. That ace drops onto the tabled cards. I have just forced that card. I now drop the rest of the pack, which is in my hands, on top of that. And now I scoop the rest of this up and it goes onto the tabled deck. First thing I do now is I divine the selected card, and I usually proceed as follows. Since it is the black card, the ace of spades, I say, as I listen to the cards, the sound of the cards tell me you chose a cherry-colored card. Now this is a setup for a little joke because everyone will think of that, and as soon as you say cherry-colored card, they will think red. And of course, they'll look at you with that puzzled look in their eyes. You listen one more time. You say, I'm sorry, black cherry, correct? That always gets a smile from your audience. You now continue a little bit further as you listen. Spade, a high value card, the ace of spades. There's impact number 1. You have just divined the selected card. You now place the cards on the table, smile and say, you know, most card tricks would stop there. But this trick goes further than that. Ace of spades. Let me spell that out. A-C-E of spades, S-P-A-D-E-S. The ace of spades. Now by that setup that we had at the beginning, this just works out automatically. It's a mathematical wonder. And you'll notice A-C-E, spades, because there were 5 spade cards, the ace ends up being the S in ace of spades. The comfort zone is that you can see the little mark that you put on that card, so you know you're okay. You can even, when you deal these out, let's see, that was A-C-E of spades, S-P-A-D-E-S. Yes, there it is, the ace of spades. There's punch 2 in this. You have divined the card, now you have spelled to that card. I now address the audience once again. You know, most card tricks would stop there. Now, because of the repetition of this line, it makes it even a little bit funnier, and your audience gets another chuckle. You acknowledge that you spelled out ace, and here we have the aces of spades, and here I have some spade cards. Yes, look at that. The ace of spades. Now, this is your last line that you're about to use as far as saying this goes one step further. You say, now that's pretty nice and everything, but you know, this trick goes further than that. In fact, all I have to do is give the cards a little wiggle, just like this, which isn't magic, but I do it so well. And we now have one step further that we go. There's our ace of spades, and here we have a royal flush in spades. And if you were a poker player, you know you can't go any further than that. And that is the final punch in this mystery with the cards. Go back through this, do the setup. When you force the card using that 10 to 20 force, remember it's a variation because the ace of spades is actually 9 down. You can spot that little dotted card. so you'll know when to turn it over. Watch how I replace the packets, and the audience can choose a 19, they can choose 11, 15, whatever. It all works out mathematically. I know you will enjoy doing this mystery for your audience because it does have multiple climaxes along the way. I thank you for your kind attention.